And as always, we're putting the controllers down to pick up the mouse and keyboard. We're heading back over to League of Legends as well. We do have the Asian and Eastern regions to go over as they are jumping into their final weeks as well as some of their playoffs. Let's go ahead and jump into the LCK though, as we did have the Telecom Wars jumping off once again, but this time it would be KT who finally in 9 series against T1 get their win. It's been close to 418 days, I believe, since KT has been able to take a win off of T1 in the Telecom Wars and get that series win. They would finally find it here. BDD absolutely popping off on the Talia though. And as we're talking about mid laners possibly going over for that Nations Cup, BDD has to be probably in that running as well with how well he has been playing lately. But here we have it finally. This for KT is very big because with this win means that they have qualified for playoffs in one of those top 4 spots in that Team Legends. They don't have to go through the play-ins, so it's a very big win for them. On the opposite side though, for T1, they held the number 2 spot for 1 day and 1 day only. Unfortunately, with this loss, they have dropped that number 2 spot back over to HLE because remember, the split 1 through 3 rounds drew over into rounds 3 through 5. So despite T1 having more wins than HLE in these rounds 3 through 5, they haven't quite been able to negate that number 2 spot. Though for KT, they will secure that number 4 spot though in this group, as so they don't have to do that play-in match. And as we can see here, they have secured playoffs, and both T1 and KT have that, meaning NS has to go into the play-ins for playoffs going forward. Now, we're going to shift our attention going over to the LPL region, though, here in a little bit, because we have some massive changes in their positioning over in the LPL. We are seeing both BLG and AL dropping into 3 and 4, top esports number 1. But let's talk about number 2, and that is going to be IG. IG has had a massive resurgence coming into split number 3, and they are looking very good, especially in some of these games where they are not doing too well. Yes, look at that score. That is 30-11 in kills in this game between Weibo Gaming and IG. But it didn't matter, as IG was able to take that game number 1 off of some great macro play and late game play. And yes, they had everyone going high pitch there like Mickey Mouse at the end in this game number 2. Unfortunately, IG would drop this game number 2 to Weibo, but they're showing off their team fight prowess. It doesn't matter if they are behind, they will go in. But going to game number 3 here, we have IG versus Weibo, and it would be IG once again taking a clean game number 3 versus Weibo to continue their streak going forward. This would allow them to take the number 2 spot going into the week, although we do have some more games that have left to be played. So BLG, if they can continue their winning ways, we can possibly get into that number 2 spot. But as you can see here, we do have playoffs locked in for those teams. Top Esports, IG, BLG, and AL all have playoffs secured, so we'll have to see how they play into their playoffs at the end of this week, as week number 7 is the last week of the Swiss stage. Now, let's talk about some LCP action, as we finally did have some of the remaining matches of the games going for LCP to finalize here. They are moving into their playoffs this week, but it would be CFO who has dominated that number 1 spot in the LCP for the entirety of 2025, is going to take it off of GAM. Their LCP international representatives with them at MSI as well as EWC. They are able to take this, secure the number 1 seed, and they have just looked on fire. They are looking to be the only team that possibly can make it to all 3 Riot international events, First Stand, MSI, and Worlds, if they can continue their run and win the playoffs to make it into Worlds here. So we'll have to see if they continue, but the way they've been looking right now, they've looked absolutely amazing. Again, this is another team that despite going down in kills, they have such good macro play that they are able to win it out. They would end up winning this game. I believe they were even down 1 kill at the end. GAM just unable to finalize the game in this last play here. So good from CFO. Doggo doing absolutely amazing. Hong Q as well, just absolutely running the team. This team has looked so good going into the playoffs, and from the group stage, they will be able to wait who they are going to play between Team Secret as well as DFM. And then we have GAM moving into that 2nd seed. We'll wait from Vikings and PSG in these playoffs. So remember, the top 2 teams will move on to Worlds. We'll have to see how those playoffs play out for the next coming weeks as we start to head into Worlds.
And well,